So the People Team Roadshow, there are two elements to this roadshow. There is a virtual update that we will share every month so that everybody can access it, and that will be hot topics, new benefits, anything that's kind of live and current, or answer any questions that you do share. The picture that you're seeing is where my team go into your team and do 3 activities. So they do another people update, they do a team building exercise, and the current team building exercise with Tower of Power for those of you who've been involved, and they do a listening session. All that feedback comes back into me and the ELT. So there's 2 elements to that. If we just move on to the next slide, Georgie. And this is my management team. So this is who you'll be hearing from today. We've got Louisa Dentist first. Louisa's been here for about 4 years. I've worked with Louisa before Urban Bubble. I pinched her and brought her with me, and she's just been promoted to the Head of Learning and Development. So you'll be hearing from Louisa and her new plans. We've got Lindsay and Connor, and they've both been here for about a year, and they share the role of HR. Lindsay sits more on the generalist side, so anything and everything, literally anything and everything. And Connor sits more on the employee relations side. And for those who don't know what employee relations is, it's any obstacles in the workplace that interferes, I guess, with people being effective in the role. And sometimes that can be quite some difficult, sensitive issues you need support with. And then we have Rebecca, our newest member of the management team. Rebecca's been here about 7 months, and she is our recruitment extraordinaire. So many of you with the level of new starters will know Rebecca well. We'll cover 3 presentations today, and there'll be one from Louisa covering learning and development, one from Lindsay covering HR, and one from Rebecca covering recruitment. And I think what I wanted to get across the most in this is that we have now grown, and our size is fit for purpose to support the size of this business. And we haven't been, truthfully, we have not been of the right headcount to be able to support you fully, but we now are. So the team will share a little bit about the structure and our vision for 2023. If you have any questions, if you can use the chat bar, toolbar at the top. And Georgie, can I ask that you keep an eye on those, and we'll make sure that we answer them as we go. So firstly, handing over to Louisa, our head of L&D.
Hello, hi everyone. Nice to see you all virtually. So I'm just going to take you through what you can expect, I suppose, from learning and development over the course of the next year. So if you won't mind, I'll give you a little nod. Yeah, thank you. So I'm mainly going to cover learning and development options for new colleagues and learning and development options for all colleagues. And within that, we'll be looking at structured learning. So how do we get digital and face-to-face learning in place to support people through that 6-month welcome period? Talk to you a bit about the academy plans with experts who can help to train and coach. Just share with you again, what we do around ongoing fortnightly welcome, and also that quarterly values event that goes down so well with the Bubble bus tour, Mick at the helm. And then for all colleagues, kind of work that we're doing on career development options, leadership and management development, core skills workshops, qualifications, and health and safety. Lovely, thank you. So as Claire sort of referred to, headcount across the whole people team has increased, and I'm really happy that mine has too across L&D, and I think it's really needed. So just to share with you, this is actually the current L&D team structure pretty much until the next few weeks when we start to get more people on board. So and particularly during COVID times, this was the structure that you saw. There was myself, L&D manager, we had an L&D consultant. At one time it was Chris Laws, at another time we had Steve Austin, thankfully, and we had back then a lady called Helen who was our L&D coordinator, and that structure largely hasn't changed. There's myself, there's an L&D consultant and an L&D coordinator, and you can see there on the left, we've got a head count now of 369 people. So between us, that hasn't been quite enough, I guess, to support the increasing L&D needs that we see across the business. So I'm really happy that investment has now gone into the team, and this is what you hopefully will see now going forward. So I'm there, as you can see, And then the roles that you can see in purple are roles that are soon to come into the team or have recently just come into the team. So you can see there on the left, at the top, we've got an L&D consultant called Natasha who will join us in the new year. We have our new e-learning developer called Yusuf, who's sat opposite me now, who joined us last Monday only. So Yusuf is brand new into the team, and joining us on Monday, next Monday, we've got a guy called Jamie Beaumont, who's also going to join us. So we've now got that kind of strengthened team across that layer to really help us to drive some of the L&D. And we've got a vacancy still out there for another L&D consultant. In addition, we will have, and I am out for at the moment and sent an email out for a Bubble Academy trainer. We want somebody from our business, and we don't want to go outside for this role. We really want somebody in our business who will join us full time and to help support around systems and process training. And I have had some interest, but if you are interested in a role, then please do come and talk to me, and I'd be really happy to to hear from you. So there'll be those L&D consultants, 3, supported by Yusuf, who is our e-learning expert. There will be a Bubble Academy internal trainer who will be with us supporting on systems and process. And underneath that, we want an academy of experts, people that are in role, operational. We're looking for about 11 people who will be subject matter experts in their own role that will help on an ad hoc basis to support the whole of that kind of learning suite that we're offering, either face-to-face or digital, and all of it backed up by our backbone, which is Roa, who's our L&D coordinator. So the team's gone from 3 to 8, which we think is fitting now to really support some of those needs that we've got across the team. So what can you expect in terms of structured development for new colleagues? So the first part is around structured learning to support the welcome. We know that we have, lots of new colleagues joining us as we grow, and we've got that need to really provide them with the support as they first join us in those first 6 months. So what are the systems that they need to get to grips with? What are the processes that they need to learn and follow? What are some of the key skills that they need in order to be effective in the role? So that first part will be about really providing the manager and the new starter with a full learning suite that they can access, that will be a combination of both digital learning that's pulled together, I guess, by our academy experts with the support of Yusuf, but overlaid with that academy expert. So I recognise digital is part of the solution, 100% digital learning. Now that we're national, it will always be part of our strategy to provide digital learning, but we need that face-to-face ongoing coaching support to support that as well, and we recognise that, and that is where this academy, where these people that are experts in the operational roles can come in and support with those new starters. So it'll start with that kind of overall path of learning. What is the line of sight that a new starter needs, so that they understand what they need to get to grips with in the first 6 months, and the manager has that too. They've got a path of digital learning that they can nip into whenever they need it, that will cover things like systems, cover process. Obviously ProMap will be part of that solution as well. They've got a buddy coach, subject matter expert in the academy that will also go and do some face-to-face coaching and training, and will be there as a point of contact, on the phone, on Teams, so that if they've got questions, they can reach out. And then obviously all of that framework, then when we've got that very clear framework of this is everything that people need to know and here's all the resources to support them, that helps the manager in turn with that new starter to have meaningful conversations about their progress during the first 6 months. So it should support with the quality of one-to-ones, the quality of objective setting, and so that when we come to the end of that 6 months, everybody feels confident that the new person is competent in the role, they know what they're doing, and that they're effective and serving our customers and residents in the way that we intend. So I was just going to share, if you just click on that, if you just go back and click on that link for the system guides. Sorry, Suite of Learning. Just click on it. Should open. Don't worry, doesn't matter. Sorry, just go back. Sorry, the link hasn't worked and it doesn't matter too much. I was going to show you an example of a learning path that we have got already in LearnBubble, where you can see an example of all of the different types of modules that have been put together for one of the lettings roles, just to try and, you know, allow you to visualize this is kind of what it will look like. But I can set, you know, I can always send a bit of a picture afterwards so that people can see it if you've not seen it before. Okay, so the Academy experts, these are those guys, like I say, that we want to work with closely, who we would consider to be subject matter experts in all of the various different roles. And you can see there that I've listed some of them. Again, I went out on an email a couple of weeks ago just asking people if they're interested, and please let me know. And I'm really glad that quite a few people have come back and said, actually, I am doing some of this already. Or I think I've got something to offer. So again, I'm really just interested in anybody that feels like actually I've got expertise here that other people could benefit from. But we are looking for experts across those roles there that you can see at the top to really come together on a regular basis to say, what should this learning look like for all of these different roles, and for you really to be in the driving seat about what that should be shaping up like. So again, like I say, experts wanted, please let me know if you are interested. Thank you. And then welcome for new colleagues. We continue with our fortnightly welcome. So we run this every fortnight for all new starters. It takes the morning up. And we talk about vision, mission, values. We get people to introduce each other. We go through some sort of core information, as you'd expect, around policies, procedures, etc. Just so that people feel that they have a good introduction to the business. And in addition, managers there also put together a 2-week timetable for the first couple of weeks, and then ongoing sort of oversee against a checklist that we've put together, sort of progress in the role. So that still obviously continues, and we continue to make improvements to that on an ongoing basis. And then finally, the values event. So the next one is coming up on Tuesday, the 6th of December. I think we've got a group of 30 on this one, Mick, and so it's going to be a fun one. So this is all about really getting to grips with our vision, mission and values, how we live our values day in, day out, what the behaviours are that really support those values. And of course, all of that drives our culture, who we are, what it feels like to work here at Urban Bubble. We do a bubble bus tour, so Mick takes us around Manchester, pointing out competitors, pointing out our buildings. Obviously, we go on a tour of a few of the buildings and just hear about the Urban Bubble story, how that story began in Juicy Wharf, where Mick first lived. We know over time, obviously, this needs to go national. So when we first started this, we were mainly Manchester. So it's some thinking there about how do we bring all of that in so that, you know, we can see the full extent of all of the work that we do. But the next one is in December. We run them every quarter for new starters that have joined us in that quarter. So that will continue next year. So that's kind of development for new starters. And then in terms of ongoing development for all colleagues, we know that career development is a key hot topic for lots of people. They want to understand when they join Urban Bubble what career options are available for them. And increasingly so, I think, sort of the generations that are coming through, you know, spend less time in organisations and kind of are keen to kind of soak things up and learn, and then they move on. So we've got to recognise that and show people that there are career development options for people here at Urban Bubble. So I just wanted to sort of share with you what we've already got in place, I suppose, to support that. Is our jobs page on the Urban Bubble website. So if you are someone that is keen to understand what options are available, I'd always say go and have a look at that jobs website. I mean, obviously, we don't want people moving out of jobs every 2 minutes. It would cause chaos. But at the same time, there's always vacancies on that page. And if there's something there that you are interested in or think you might be interested in that in the future, then do discuss it with your line manager during your regular monthly one-to-ones. And so on the left-hand page, I've just sort of shown you, you know, those jobs are available for people to have a look at. And there's also that opportunity through your one-to-ones always to be discussing development. I've taken a screenshot of the guide for managers to say, you know, here's some good questions to discuss. And also the template PDP, personal development plan, that you can find in Bubble Resources. So in a sense, if you're keen on moving, you know, looking at different career options within Urban Bubble, always have that conversation with your line manager, look at other jobs that are available, get the job description, have a look at it with your line manager and think, well, how does that differ to the work that I'm in and how could I get some exposure to that? So those options are there already. But what I would say going forward is that we are doing work. We know that there's new standards coming through from the British standards industry around residential property management, who are now setting out a competency framework. That is going to bring changes for us anyway to make it very structured. You know, this is everything that you need to know. We've already done some work on our behavioural framework to show you what are the different behaviours that you would be expected to see at different sort of stages of progression in your career, from all employees right through to executive leadership. So there's some work that's already been done there. There's work there on that UB training matrix where we're kind of mapping out, this is the knowledge, these are the skills. So ultimately, where we will get to is like a full piece of understanding that if you're a BSA, for example, what are the knowledge and skills that you've got in your current role now that could map into a different role, so that you can start to see, and no matter which role you're in, the knowledge and skills and competencies that you've got, how they might map over. So we know that that is a piece of work that people want. But like I say, at the moment, there's lots of opportunities, loads of people in this business that have moved, been promoted, changed jobs. We are that kind of business that supports that. So I'd encourage you to, like I say, have those discussions with your line manager and have a look at some of the jobs pages. So leadership and management, you'll see more of this year, and very shortly you will see a learning needs analysis coming out for people who are in management and leadership roles already, asking you to give us your feedback around different aspects of leadership and management and what you consider to be the most important and relevant to you in your role. So in the new year, we will start to run programmes for managers, sort of first line managers, newer to management, with all of your management essentials, and we'll also be running leadership development for people who are stepping up or in leadership type roles. So that work is already done, and very soon, like I say, you'll see a learning needs analysis come out so that we can get your thoughts on what you think is the most useful. These are the sort of different layers of programme that we'll be operating. So an emerging leaders programme, which is, like I say, for people who are newer into management. Impact leaders programme for people who are either already in or stepping up into more senior leadership roles. And then Horizon leaders, who would be our sort of executive senior team. And I've just kind of listed there the kind of topics that you might expect to see through some of the sort of core Urban Bubble skilled manager programmes and the leadership and management. So again, I know we've had feedback that people want to understand what are the basics of being, what are the core essentials around being a skilled manager at Urban Bubble. So you might see things on the programme like performance management cycle at Urban Bubble, the appraisals at Urban Bubble, how we hold effective one-to-ones, delegating work, etc. So I've kind of listed those for you. And then alongside that, what you would expect to see maybe in a leadership and management programme around self-awareness, communication, culture, leadership, partnership working, etc. And there will be coaching support that sits around certainly those impact leaders and Horizon leader programmes. So you will see that coming through in 2023. As I referred to before, we've done quite a lot of work on the behavioural framework based on the back of the leaders events, where we took some feedback. So we've layered that into different levels so that you can see as your career progresses how the behavioural expectation may change. And that also will feed into this 360 tool. So again, if you're a manager and a leader, it's really, really useful to understand what your impact is on others, how you impact on those people that maybe report to you, how you impact on people who you're at the same level as, and how people maybe that are more senior than you perceive your impact in the workplace. So we've already invested in a 360 tool, and we're plugging in all of our values and behaviours into that tool. So in effect, you will get people rating you against those behaviours so that you can get a very clear sense of how does everybody else's perception compare with my own, and is there some development need there that I want to work on in order to sort of increase my impact at work. So that's the leadership and management piece. And then moving on to core skills, again, we know that people want, you know, these kind of sessions. I've just literally walked out of a customer session that I'm piloting next door in the room that I'm in now. So the kinds of things, again, that you might see, unrivaled service programme that, like I say, we're piloting at the moment. We've talked about, you know, this need for doing a sort of a programme around the lettings life cycle to help people to feel skilled up with all of that. Managers and leadership development, as I've talked about. Digital skills is massive for us. We know we've got, you know, a new tech director at some point coming in, so that will be massive for us if we're making changes around digital. We know that there'll be big learning needs there as we sort of, you know, either use the systems we've got more effectively, or we move to new systems. I've put a reference there to ProMap. We know there's a big piece of work being done at the moment around getting all of our processes straight. So how do we keep that sort of skill going so that we can keep process mapping and we can continually improve? So there's work there. I've put a nod to time management, you name it, report writing skills and all of that. Clearly, all of this will still need to be managed around expectations. I haven't got my team in just yet. And even if they were in, you know, it's making sure that we're delivering the things that will have the most impact. But over time, I would like to think that this is more the kind of thing that you are going to see on a regular basis. Qualifications we already support, so just again a nod, we've currently got 30 people on study agreements such as ALA, IRPM, BTR level 4, IOSH, etc. So that continues. If you want to complete a qualification that's relevant to your role, please let us know. And health and safety and compliance. In a business like ours, health and safety is everybody's business, so keeping our residents safe in their homes is absolutely crucial. I am the person that is banging down doors saying, please, can you make sure that you've done your e-learning, and that it's just crucial for us to make sure that we've all got that level of awareness. So that will always continue. And again, just referencing there, the paths of learning that we have on LearnBubble that will be updated over time. And also the face-to-face regular programme of training that we also have, just to make sure that we've all got that sort of core level of awareness around health and safety. So that's me in terms of learning and development. I think a couple of the key questions that we had were around career options, which I hope I've answered, and also this piece around making sure that managers understand how do we manage according to Urban Bubble. It is on the agenda, rest assured that will be looked at. So I'll hand over to Rebecca, who is going to take you through recruitment.
Thanks, Louisa.
Can I just add in there, that was fantastic, by the way. So much stuff going on, which is great, and you know, we want to deliver world class at everything we do, and we're not there on many points, but we're aiming for it. And you know, L&D, Louisa, Claire, is hugely important to a people business like ours, which is near enough 400 colleagues large. But looking at the jobs, we're going to double in size by headcount by 3 to 5 years. Can't say how far. So even if you're not ready yet, or it's not there for you, keep a looking at jobs boards. You can see exactly what's available in a business like ours. We're going to go through some very strong headwinds in the economy. There's going to be more unemployment. There's going to be a recession. There is a recession. It's going to get tougher before it gets better. And I'd like to think that as a business like ours, we're quite insular to that, touch wood, because we've got almost a guaranteed growth trajectory in the next 5 years. And within that growth, don't just look at these numbers and see the fact that Urban Bubble goes from 400 to 800 and we're going to quadruple revenues in that time. See the opportunity in your pathway within this business. Okay, see if I can see one lady on here that joined our central lettings team recently. I've forgotten your name. You've got an orange background. You're just behind me. You've only been here for maybe, yeah, hello. You've only been here 3 weeks. You know, it's people like you that join that. Obviously, you get good at your role that you're in and it takes time. But just know that there is a pathway and a progression in this industry. Every single person to go through that. So not just stay where you are, but progress on, and not always just upwards. Joining things like the academies and process workshops and other stuff, you know. Have some fun as we grow and see your own development as just as important as our own businesses.
Well, thanks, Mick. Hi, everyone. I'm Rebecca, for those of you that haven't met yet, and I'm going to talk a little bit about recruitment, what we do and what we've got coming. So next slide, please, Georgie. I'd just like to introduce my wonderful team, and you'll see from the slide there that investment has seen us almost double in size compared to during COVID, where there were just 2 people with support from the wider HR team alongside their day-to-day job. So in my team, I've got Philippa, who works as a recruitment consultant part-time. So Philippa's been with the business 3 years now, but moved into a recruitment role earlier this year. And her focus is on headhunting talent for the business and building pipelines of amazing candidates. We also have Georgie, who joined us just 2 months ago. Georgie supports the end-to-end recruitment process and administration alongside Jennifer, recruitment administrator, who's been with us for 11 months. And we're also actively recruiting for a recruitment advisor as well. Next slide, please. So I just wanted to share with you a bit of what we do. You probably don't hear from us unless you're recruiting or applying for a role. So, you know, as Mick was saying, the business is growing rapidly and will continue to do so, which definitely keeps us busy. But just to give a bit of insight, we're managing on average 40 campaigns each month at the moment in what is a super challenging recruitment market where competition for talent is fierce. And just to put a bit of context around that, in October, there were 10.3 million job openings in the market, which is 54% higher than pre-pandemic levels, which is huge, with only a 62% labour force participation rate, which is basically the proportion of the working age population who are either working or actively looking for work. So the market is tight and we're having to look at different ways to find and attract talent. Despite that, as a team, we've been hiring on average 30 new colleagues each month since May, as well as forming strong network and talent pools through headhunting activity. We've also begun work on forming talent pools of candidates for roles that we see come up quite regularly. So, for example, our front of house positions. So lots of great work going on there. You'll see from the slide our time to hire is sat around 33 days on average during the months of May to September. This has increased throughout October and November as we filled some more of our hard to fill vacancies, but we've also seen factors like candidates receiving counter offers from their employers, candidates having multiple offers on the table play a part in this as well. But with the tools that we've got available to us now and the increased resource, we're aiming to lower that again in the new year. Next slide, please, Georgie. So whilst we're on the topic of vacancies and leading on from what Louisa was saying, you know, we always want to encourage our internal colleagues to grow and develop with us, which I've seen a lot of it, you know, just my short time here at Urban Bubble. So just wanted to highlight the internal application process and how you can look for vacancies. So we had a question submitted around, will internal vacancies be posted for a certain amount of time? And our process is that we'll always have our vacancies advertised internally for a week before we progress with any external candidates to make sure that our internal colleagues have the opportunity to apply and be a part of the process. And that doesn't mean you've only got 1 week to apply, as our shortlisting and interview process usually takes a couple of weeks as well. There are certain occasions where we wouldn't advertise internal roles, but this would only be when, for example, an employee is currently in a role and that particular role is changing. So a very small amount of cases, I would say, otherwise we would advertise all of our roles internally. At the start of each week, you'll see a post in our Teams channel, in the general channel, which highlights all of our live vacancies. You can also look at our Urban Bubble careers page as well, as Louisa showed. If there's a role that you're interested in, you'll just need to have an open conversation with your line manager about applying for the role. And then there is an internal application form for you to complete, both for you and for your line manager. And then once you've completed that, you just need to apply via the website and upload your CV and the application form. And you can just select the option internal application. Next slide, please, Georgie. I just also wanted to remind you about our Refer a Friend scheme. So it's a great scheme, and we want to encourage you to spread the word about how amazing it is to work at Urban Bubble to your friends and to your network, and to recommend suitable people for our positions. So if you do know someone who you think would be great for a role, ask them to apply via our website and select employee referral and add your name to the application. If you do introduce talent to the team, you'll receive £250 once they successfully complete probation, and a further £250 once they reach a year's service. So really great benefit there. We've had 13 successful referrals this year, which is amazing. So, please do keep them coming. So what are we doing to attract external talent in the market then? So we're doing a lot of things. We've recently adopted a new format for our adverts with real life quotes from our internal colleagues, from you, which we've had some really great feedback on from candidates in the market, as it gives them, a real insight on what it's like to work for Urban Bubble. We work with a range of job boards, including some of the major players like Indeed, Glassdoor and Total Jobs. We've invested this year in LinkedIn advertising and the LinkedIn Recruiter tool, which allows us to search directly for talent with the skills and the experience that we're looking for. And we've had some great success from this over the last few months. This also allows us to build a strong network of people that we can engage with for future positions as well. We're aware that not everyone is on LinkedIn, and we're also trialling CV Library, which will allow us to search for and contact a large number of candidates as well to support with roles that we struggle with. Job fairs. We did a job fair in Manchester earlier in the year where we spoke to hundreds of potential candidates, and we've got plans to go to other cities in the new year. Job fairs are a great way for us to get our brand out there to people who may not be familiar with the property sector or haven't heard of us before. It also helps that we take with us branded cupcakes, which everybody loves and draws everybody to our stand. Social media is a big one, so we're trying to utilise social media as much as we can, and you'll see some of our recent posts on the screen there. We're using social media, primarily LinkedIn at the moment, not only to promote our roles and to increase visibility, but to promote Urban Bubble as a brand in the market by sharing what's happening in the business day to day. So we have a really attractive culture, and by sharing this on social media, we can attract both job seekers, people who are looking for jobs, but also candidates who might not be looking for a job at this moment in time, but they might do a couple of months down the line, and they'll remember what they've seen and what Urban Bubble do, and they'll come back to us in the future, which is what we want to happen. So a whopping 75% of job seekers will research a company on social media before applying for the role. So we want to post real, engaging content to give an idea of what life at Urban Bubble is like. And we've seen a lot of the site teams do this as well, which is amazing. So there's also the power of liking and sharing our social media content, and we've all seen how quickly videos and memes can go viral on the internet. And when you think about how many connections you've got on LinkedIn, let's say you've got over 500, just a simple reaction, a comment, or sharing a post, whether it's a job post or a general Urban Bubble post, it puts us in front of a whole new audience. And this process continues the more engagement that we get and the more people it reaches, and that's ultimately what we're trying to achieve. We do use Facebook as well at the moment to post adverts in local community groups, which can sometimes gather interest. We're in the process of building a social media strategy, and as part of that, we want to utilise Instagram as well, which has over 1 billion users and growing. So a great way to get our brand and our jobs out there. Alongside all of this, we're always looking at new ways to attract talent and looking at what kind of partnerships we can make externally to support this as well. Next one, please, Georgie. So just a little bit on what else we're doing and what else we're working on. So we've got lots of plans and project work ongoing, mainly around attraction, pipelining and process. So I've already mentioned the work that we're doing on attraction and social media. And from this, we can build strategies for common vacancies based off lessons learned. We're also looking to start building relationships with colleges and universities in the new year so that we can attend open days and job fairs. and we're also looking at how we can build on brand attraction jointly with our communities and our clients. Pipelining, so continuing to headhunt talent and build strong networks with a focus on how do we keep our external talent engaged, how do we keep them up to date on what's going on at Urban Bubble and keep them interested for a role that could potentially come up 12 or 18 months down the line. We're also doing a full process review from the point of receiving a new vacancy up to the day that somebody joins us. And the aim of this is to make the process slick and efficient for managers, for candidates and for us as well. So we'll be reviewing our full process, but just a couple of examples, we'll be reviewing the assessments that we use at interviews, we'll be creating training materials and guidance, and we'll be switching to electronic offer paperwork for candidates as well. So just a few examples of what we're looking at, but we're looking at the process as a whole. And then once we've done that, we'll be in a position to give a clear proposition on SLAs and standards that you can expect from the recruitment team. So that's all from me for now. Thank you everyone for listening. Hope that gives you a bit of an insight into what we do day to day and what we've got coming. And I'll hand you over to Lindsay to talk all things HR.
Before we do, any questions on recruitment for Rebecca? I think we had one come through, Hannah, which was around the internal roles, but any more questions? No. I have a small plug. So I think every team has been impacted by resource levels, my own included, and it causes a lot of pain and puts a lot of pressure on all of us. One thing we can all have a big impact on is if people could leave Glassdoor reviews. It's the new TripAdvisor in my world of HR, and it makes such a difference to candidates that approach us or that we're approaching, because it is now the first place they're starting to go. So that's a little Glassdoor's plug if I can. Lindsay.
Hi everybody. For those that haven't met me yet, my name's Lindsay. I'm the people manager for Urban Bubble. I joined in November 21, and when I joined, we only had Connor, Philippa and Georgie in the team. Connor and Philippa both work part-time, so really they're equivalent to one person. So the team was made up of about 3 full-time people. Georgie, if you could just change the slide, please. Thank you. So these are the people in the HR team. You've got overall, the HR team are responsible for driving engagement, organising annual events, making sure everyone gets paid correctly and on time, giving you all fantastic benefits, wellbeing initiatives, managing data and reporting, and providing support to colleagues and managers across the business. So Connor is also a people manager, but he specialises in employee relations. So he's a point of contact for all employee relations enquiries, and Connor helps to coach and support management through people-related activities such as performance, retention and employment legislation. We have recently taken on Katie. Katie is our people advisor and she joined in October. So Katie's not been here very long at all, but she's the first point of contact for all employee relation cases, and she manages our probation process and oversees absence management. Georgie has recently had a promotion. So Georgie was our people coordinator and she was responsible for the employee life cycle. Georgie's now our junior people advisor, and Georgie is still going to be overseeing payroll. She's our people HR super user, and she's going to be getting involved in management and lots of different engagement initiatives. And Sammy, who has only been here for 3 weeks, has filled Georgie's boots. Sammy joined us in November and she's taken over all of Georgie's responsibilities. We did have a few questions. Oh, sorry, Georgie, if you could just go back. We did have a few questions on the team. So some of the questions that were received were regarding the difficulty for site management to get answers or assistance from HR in a timely manner. And they've asked if there's any more plans to get team members to offer that extra support for managers so issues can be dealt with a bit more promptly. And we also had another question about, do we plan to expand the team because of the response times? So as you can see, we have expanded the team. We've got 5 people in our team now. So it's pretty much almost doubled in size to support with the growth of the business. So we definitely take that point on board, and we are working to reduce the time frame for responses that are received to the Hey HR inbox. Thanks, Georgie. Next slide. So the focus of the HR team across 2023, we've got a few main points that we're looking at. So we'll start with reward and recognition. HR and finance have worked collaboratively to improve our payroll process, which is becoming more streamlined, and that feeds into making sure you guys get paid the correct amount and on time. We held our pay review. We brought it forward to July this year, so we were pleased that we were able to give pretty much everybody in the business an increase to the salary, and it is our commitment to you that we're going to continue to review pay every year. As part of reward and recognition, we're also really pleased to introduce our long service awards. So that's another fantastic benefit. And our colleagues are what makes Urban Bubble incredible. So we really want to celebrate people who stay and work hard for our residents and our communities. The guidelines for long service are saved on People HR in the document section if anyone would like to take a look. And then we've got heroes. So it was fantastic to see so many of you at Oktoberfest. And it was fantastic to be able to host our first in-person Hero Awards. We had so many nominations for incredible colleagues, and we want to continue to recognise our people. So we are planning our next Heroes event, which is going to be held in 2023, and nominations will be open in the new year, so keep your eyes peeled. We had a question in regards to reward and recognition, and that was about payment for covering shifts whilst the colleagues are on holiday. So we've had a colleague who said that they've covered shifts 4 times now and had to chase to get paid, which is never ideal. That's not what we want. But we do have a process for any overtime, and that's in line with our payroll process. So any changes need to be inputted through People HR before the 10th of the month. That's our cut-off, and that should be authorised by your manager. So if there's any issues and you aren't getting paid on time, please contact us directly and we can look into that for you. We had another question on pay as well, and that was also regarding overtime. And that question was, is there a reason why we can't pay overtime when a member of staff covers a colleague's shifts, as we would pay extra for agency to cover it? So overtime at the moment is paid at your basic rate. And again, in relation to agency, we do have agency that's budgeted for and cost covered through this. But if you're covering extra shifts, you will be paid for it. It just needs to come through by the 10th. We had a question in regards to annual bonuses. Would HR be open to looking at annual bonuses for on-site teams for hitting KPIs? So that question is more of an executive team decision rather than a HR decision. It's not something that we've budgeted for in this financial year, but I know that the dream of Claire and Mick is that growth and finances will allow all roles to have a bonus earning potential, but there's no clear date for that as yet. So in April, May time, we will start the budget process again, so we will consider how we can enhance packages. And the final question that we had on reward and recognition was about on-site managers and don't get annual bonuses. So I think we've touched on the bonus question already, but in terms of the salaries, we do benchmark our salaries annually, and we do sense check when we're introducing a new role into the market. So this July, there was a robust check. We did do our benchmarking, and 48 roles experienced a higher band. And overall, all roles showed to sit with competitors. Many of them was above. So it's a continual piece of work that we'll keep working on. We'll keep our eye on the market, but we have seen from the market, and as Rebecca touched on, the amount of roles has increased. There have been some really silly offers that we've seen other companies proposing. So the market will start to righten itself, and other hygiene factors will start to be as important again. Engagement and wellbeing. So we're working on an engagement and wellbeing calendar for 2023, and we're going to share that with you in January. The calendar will have a lot of key topics, awareness days, activities, competitions that everyone's going to be able to get involved in. Surveys. So throughout 2023, we'll be asking for your feedback again through SurveyMonkey on quite a few different topics relating to your job, your benefits, and just overall how we can do better. So please take the time to make sure that you complete the surveys. Your feedback is really important to us. Benefits. So I have a different slide on benefits, so I'll come to that. People development. So one of our key focuses is to equip managers with the tools to effectively manage the people. Every quarter, we will aim to conduct lunch and learn sessions so we can share best practice and upskill line managers. In the meantime, we'll continue to provide in-the-moment coaching to line managers, and hopefully when we've rolled that out, we will look to do sessions for colleagues. We had a question submitted about HR training to on-site managers in regard to the urban bubble way of doing things. So managers know how to approach certain situations without having to wait for HR to come back to them. So we are working on this, and we are going to start rolling out training in the new year. As you've seen from the team, we haven't been fully staffed, so we've not been able to do that. But as we grow, we're going to plan it in. So we will continue to support managers in one-to-ones when they contact our teams with any concerns or issues. And then we've got process and data. So it's our job to ensure that all data in People HR is up to date and that we're complying with data protection. So it's really important that your details in People HR are correct. So if everyone could take the opportunity to check the contact details, such as their address and the telephone numbers, that would be fantastic. But we use People HR to help us understand key trends and themes around people so we can make adjustments as needed. And we're hoping to be able to start providing that to sites directly. That should help us with any stakeholder and client needs. There's also some reports that we're required to do, such as gender pay. So People HR data helps us with that. We've also been reviewing our policies, our people policies, to make sure that they're fit for purpose, and we've started to revisit ProMap. So we're going to be working quite hard over the next few months to get all our processes mapped out on ProMap, so you'll be able to go in and see without having to wait for a response from us. We had a question around induction sessions, and the question was, can you introduce an induction session or quarterly meetings with managers to ensure that we are kept up to date on company policies? Again, we're going to hold lunch and learn meetings, so we'll cover off some lessons learned and hot topics in those sessions. We're working on getting better at communicating changes in the policies to you, and you will see quite a few comms coming from the people team via email, but we're also going to work on different channels such as Teams to communicate these changes. Next slide, please, Georgie. So, our 2022 engagement survey completion. So thank you to everyone that took the time to complete the engagement survey. The survey was sent out in October, and overall you can see from the headlines that we had some really positive results. So 83% of employees would recommend Urban Bubble as an employer. We asked that same question back in March, and that hasn't changed. It was 83% then.
So, right, okay, sorry, Lindsay, I was just about to say the next slide hadn't come up, but there it is, sorry.
Oh, okay. 86% enjoy working at Urban Bubble, 81% enjoy the culture, 91% of you understand the vision, mission and values, 88% agreed that the team provides good customer service, and 80% are happy with the information on benefits, events and general company updates. So the survey was sent out through SurveyMonkey. It was sent to 351 people. Only 226 people responded to the survey. So that's something that we're looking at, because that's a bit of a challenge. We would like to know, why is it that people can't access the survey? They might have a role that's not sat directly in front of a computer. So we're going to have a look at that and put some actions off the bat. We also got a bit of feedback that selecting the departments, because the survey is anonymous, but we do ask you to select which department you sit in. So we're going to develop a guide to make it really clear on which drop down you should select when you complete the survey. So overall, it was really positive. We did have a few challenges, and some of those challenges I'll go through with you now. So 35% of people believe the technology and systems available aren't good enough. So we have recently appointed a technology director who's going to come in and is going to review our software, equipment and our technical procedures. So hopefully that is going to improve. 41% of people don't feel informed on how the business performs financially. So we're going to work harder to share more of that information with you and make sure you do feel informed. Almost 50% don't feel they've got the time to commit to learning. So I know Louise has already touched on L&D in her section and our plans going forward for that. 40% of people are unsure of how we're giving back to the community, helping the environment or helping disadvantaged people. So as part of your benefits, and I will touch more on benefits, but every team has a volunteering day to make a meaningful contribution. So all you need to do for a volunteering day is agree with your team what you would like to do and how you want to give back, and agree that with your manager. And we always want to shout about the amazing work that we do here. So don't forget that you can nominate colleagues for the Social Values Hero Award. And 31% of you would like to see more benefits. So we did send a benefits survey out earlier this year, and we asked you what benefits mattered to you most, what benefits you would like to see. And we have taken that feedback on board, and behind the scenes, we're working to improve your benefits. So some further feedback that we received as part of this survey was around the way that we communicate with you. We know we need to do better on communication, and we are going to be working on a communication strategy to make sure we reach every person in Urban Bubble. Some of the feedback that we got was that you didn't know who was starting, who was leaving, and any changes. So you might have seen a recent communications email that welcomed our new starters, informed you of who had left, and celebrated our incredible people who had received promotion. That is something we're going to be doing every single month. So hopefully that should keep you a bit more up to date. But as I said, we'll be working on a communication strategy going forward. Next slide, Georgie, please. So looking after colleagues is our #1 priority, which is why we offer some fantastic benefits at Urban Bubble. We know as long as we employ great people and look after them well, that incredible service will be provided.
Sorry, Lindsay, can I just interject there? There was just one point I wanted to mention. We have appointed a director of technology that will come in and set up this new team, and the incumbent colleagues that we have in technology also identify, like in your own team, new roles that are needed. But what we've done ahead of that, because we haven't got the time to wait, systems, I just want to explain this. Everybody told us 6 months ago, systems are not helping us, they're hindering us, loud and clear. People don't have enough time to do the good things in the business. You know, we don't have enough time to do the job, let alone learning, development, academy, all that stuff. Got that loud and clear, and it has been absolutely our focus, absolutely our priority to try and get this put in focus and make sure that we do something about it. So we appointed, took several months to find the right firm and get the right scope priced, but we've appointed a company called Profound that some of you may have already engaged with. That's a consultancy business that's doing a deep dive into our business and understanding what do we want to be in the future, how do we want to serve our customers and give them value, and how do we want to engage with them, what's that customer journey. So it's not about processes, it's that future state vision of what we want to be. And then they look at our current technology estate, there's 2 of them, one for residential, one for BTR, and then some of us like HR have people HR and other systems that need looking at. And then they're going to establish what is best in class modules to deliver that end-to-end holistic care. So it's not looking at a system and saying that's really good, it's looking at the types of system out there that we can put together, and we put them together. It can eliminate or automate as much as possible, and our people can be focused on creating value for customers. And I need you to think of that, eliminate as much as we can, if not automate it, and then those who are employed in this business will keep going up are then focused on creating values for customer. And then the cool thing would be you'll have time to do charity days, time to do conferences, time to do learning, and have the time to do value adding stuff, not how we are today, which is basically working around systems that don't perform for us. Okay, to give you an idea, that's 100 grand that consultancy piece, and we expect circa 3 million quid to be invested on new technology. That is a massive a huge undertaking and a massive commitment as shareholders of the business, but it's one I feel deeply that we do, because in 2 or 3 years we'll be so ahead of the curve. It'll be quicker than that, but we'll be ahead of the curve. But that starts and that concludes at the end of December, probably bleed into a bit of January, and that'll mean a new director of technology can come in, take all that work, shape it into something that they get, and put a phase plan of how we then start executing that strategy. So I just wanted everybody to hear that, because we are not just going to wait for someone to come in and give them 6 months to learn the business, see how they get on, and then we're talking about this next year. No, we've started. I want to get into January, starting delivering on some of this stuff that we're being told doesn't work for us. Okay, sorry I interjected. I just thought I wanted to get that out.
So this slide just gives you a bit of an overview of our current benefits. So we believe in helping colleagues to achieve a good work-life balance is the key to happiness in the workplace, which is why we offer some fantastic benefits here, like your birthday day off. That's one of our most popular benefits. We don't believe anyone should work on the birthday, which is why we do give everyone the day off. And we've recently decided to start celebrating the big birthdays as well by sending a £15 Love to Shop voucher out. So we did send a communication out on that. So you might have seen a few birthdays that we've got coming up. And then as we touched on volunteering day, because people said they're not sure how to give back, we've got help with finances such as your season ticket loan, cycle to work scheme, and we're investing in study support. So we've been working quite hard in the background to utilise our budget for adding new benefits, and we did tell you that there was something coming that was for everybody, and that was Medicash. So in November, we introduced Medicash for everybody. So that's one of the most practical ways in which we could support you by providing money towards the cost of your everyday healthcare. So once you've passed probation, you'll get access to Medicash and can claim on a variety of different healthcare services such as dental, eye care, prescriptions, flu jabs, alternative therapies such as reflexology, Indian head massage and Reiki. And you can also add up to 4 of your children to the policy at no extra costs. As part of Medicash, you also get exclusive discounts, deals on cashback, shopping, travel, and quite a lot more. So this is just the start of the work to make some incremental improvements to your working life. Our benefits will be reviewed quarterly, and we will continue to ask for your feedback on benefits. One of the questions we got around benefits is, will reflexology come back? So we wanted to create benefits going forward that don't just benefit head office, but benefit everybody. We now have a huge population sitting outside of the office. So with the new Medicash plan, as I've just mentioned, everybody can have reflexology. So if you book into your local centre and log the receipt on your app, you can have the money back within a couple of days. So the spend limit on alternative therapies, which is where reflexology sits, is £75 a year. So if anyone needs any support with Medicash on how to access it, please get in touch with us. We also had a question about Bupa, and that was, how do I register for Bupa medical cover? So again, once you've passed your probation, you'll usually receive confirmation of your benefits. So if that's not happened or you're not sure, please just contact us directly. Next slide, please, Georgie. So we've had some fantastic engagement and wellbeing initiatives this year. So to name a few, we had National Fitness Day and we held a plank competition, and I believe someone planked for 5 minutes and 5 seconds, which was brilliant. We hosted Macmillan Coffee Morning across Urban Bubble, and we most recently had Oktoberfest. So soon we'll be heading into December tomorrow. And December is generally a time for giving back. So this year, Urban Bubble are getting involved with Mission Christmas, which is part of the charity Cash for Kids. Mission Christmas helps to ensure children across the UK that might be living in poverty actually wake up on Christmas morning and have something to open. So we're going to be setting up donation stations across all sites for colleagues and residents to donate, and you can donate unwrapped and brand new gifts for children. We've also got a Christmas card competition. Today is the last day for submissions, so if there's any outstanding, please get them in. There's the chance to win a £50 Love to Shop voucher. Voting is open tomorrow, so look out for those votes, and it's only open for 1 day, so please get your votes in. And it's also a Christmas jumper day next Thursday, so anyone that wears a Christmas jumper, we're asking for a £1 donation, which will go towards Cash for Kids. And just a few awareness pieces. So in December, we're going to bring pay forward. So you'll all be paid on the 20th of December. I'd also like to remind you that everybody gets a festive day on Urban Bubble, and that was either the 23rd or the 30th of December. So make sure you book that locally with your line manager. And the final thing is that I'm sure you're all booking your Christmas parties. It's £50 a head spend per person. So make sure you get that booked in. And that is it from me. So thank you very much for taking the time to listen, and I'll hand over to Claire.
Thank you, Lindsay. Any questions on HR before we move on? We've literally got 2 minutes left, but question time is important. No. So I probably don't have time to do this an awful lot of justice. This is a document you should all be familiar with. So every department head has built this document for their area. So this looks at how it's the golden thread as we talk about it. What is a vision, mission, values? what are the strategic objectives critical to us this year, which is systems, process, people, operational excellence, strong financial management, and community and sustainability. And from that, we've all flushed through what would be our headline critical activity. It would probably take me a little bit long to go through that today, but if I was to share my top three for the team, it would be learning and development, and the learning and development proposition for you for every aspect of what Louisa has shared. The talent and resourcing piece, it's tough, and we need to make sure we are fully staffed and you've got the right capacity to do your job well. And my last one will be systems and process. So we are very much in your world of needing a better system to support growth and work on our own processes. And that's it from us. As I say, this will feature once a month, and we'll do it on hot topics, so we'll get a bit closer to some subjects linked with demand. But if there aren't any more questions, thank you all very, very much. We have finished 1 minute till 3 o'clock, which I think is good going. So thank you, everybody.